The Joe Rogan Experience.
There's a lot of people out there that profess to be Christians, they profess to be whatever their denomination is, whatever their religion is, but they don't necessarily live it. Like you abandoned your beautiful house and moved into one of these tiny homes in this homeless community. And then when we went and toured the community and got to see how you interact with everybody, it's beautiful. It's really very extraordinary. And I don't think there's very many people that would do that, what you've done. You live with them, you feed them, they have all these activities, different things to do, different ways to make a living. There's all these people that are extraordinary artists. It's really amazing, impressive art that some of these unfortunate souls, they have all this creative ability, but they just have nowhere to put it, nothing to do, and no hope, and no understanding of how to get out of this. And no one around them is getting out of it either, and they're sort of trapped. And then you come along and you find great value in these people, and they find incredible value in this community that you've created. And the community is constantly expanding. While we were there, you were showing us about this new area that you guys are developing where you're going to expand it. It's really amazing stuff because it's an example of someone who's actually doing it. You're actually living that life. You're actually contributing in an incredibly positive way to all those different human beings, the hundreds of different human beings that you encounter with this, and how much you've shaped and changed their lives. It's very beautiful. It really is.
Well, the interesting thing is that how they have shaped my life, and that's where the miracle sits. And when you drive around Austin or you drive around L.A., where you came from, and or any city in the United States, and you see this catastrophe that's unfolded on our streets of all of our urban cities, it appears to be hopeless. It's just a mess. And what we want to do is be able to bring people into our village and let them see that there is hope, unbelievable hope, if we do this right. If we get our act together as a civil society and begin to do things for people, when we begin to learn, and how I like to describe this is, I say to people, and people will, they've got this stereotype of the men and women out there. They're dope addicts, they're alcoholics, they're mentally ill, they've chosen this, they're lazy. And I said, look, imagine being a 12-year-old little boy or girl. You're laying in bed at night, and you're in that twilight area between being asleep and awake. You're looking out the window at the starry, starry night. You're dreaming about what you're going to be when you grow up. I can tell you that my dreams at 12 were three things. One, I wanted to be a rock star.
Did you really?
Sure. Played guitar, had a Fender Mustang, was in a band, remember playing the song Bad by Cream, I think, Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce deal. Football, I played football, was a moderately decent football player at one time, thought I could play in the NFL. You've seen my DNA. You realize that that was never possible, but it was still a dream. And then I wanted to be a jet fighter pilot.
Wow.
And what's amazing is I'm 68 years old today, and if I'm driving and I've got AC/DC cranking in the car, guess who is on stage playing that guitar and singing that song? It's not Angus Young or Bon Scott or Brian Johnson. It's Alan Graham doing that. Or if I'm watching a great football game, and I see somebody throw a great pass or do a great block or a hit or something like that, I go back in time. Or if I see a F-22 screaming across the sky, I still dream today. And I tell people one of my favorite smells on the face of the planet is burning jet fuel. I love being on airports. I became a private pilot. I don't fly now, but many years ago. So the embers of those little boy and girl dreams are still inside of us. You had them. I don't know what they were at that time. And then somebody came in and poured fuel on top of those little boy Joe Rogan dreams that now have you, because you couldn't be laying in bed at night going, "Hey man, I'm dreaming of doing the Joe Rogan Experience thing." It wasn't on the plate.
This thing was never on the plate. I don't know what happened with
No,
this
that's
thing.
exactly. But somebody was fueling whatever your dreams were along the way until you got to the dream that the world needed you to be in. And for these men and women who lost their family completely and nobody there to pour fuel on those embers that were burning, that's really what we're doing. So when you come into our art house like you did and you see the artwork that's being produced, the Van Goghs that are being produced by men and women that are on the street, we as a society are missing out. And yeah, look, we got the crack addicts and the glue sniffers and the prostitutes and the convicted felons. All that comes with the package.
Yeah. How do you do that to make it safe for the other people there? Like if you do have the bank robbers and all the people that live a dangerous life and they find themselves homeless, and how do you screen those people out? Like what do you do?
We do very little screening. We want to know who you are, but it's a very low barrier entry to get into our deal. We demand civil obedience. I will tell you that over the course of my life, I have personally known thousands of dope addicts and alcoholics. Most of them are just good people.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think that's the case with all people. I think most people are good people, but we are so we gravitate so much to elevated threat levels that we concentrate on the bad people all the time. It's like the news, right? The news doesn't show you all the news. It shows you what's scary. There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening all the time that the news never highlights. The news just gets you freaked out about global warming, nuclear war, economic collapse. Is that really Biden or is that a guy in a Biden suit? Whatever it is. It's just more crazy things that get you freaked out. But the majority of your interactions with other people, the majority of your experiences with people are pretty positive for the most part, even considering all this stress that everybody's under all the time. Bills that can't be paid, relationships that suck, jobs that you got fired from, all these different things, hopes and dreams that are crushed, flat tire, bad transmission. Fuck. Most people are good. Most people. That's why you can go on the highway and everybody, for the most part, is doing what they're supposed to do.
Working together, man.
Yeah, when someone doesn't, it's like, look at this asshole fucking driving like an asshole. But for the most part, the vast majority of people are letting you into the lane. They're all pretty much adhering close to the speed limit.
Well, here are the numbers. 400 formerly chronically homeless men and women living in our community. Average time on the streets is 9 years. At any given time, 15 to 20 are giving us a run for the money. 380 to 85 are just fine.
When you say giving us a run for the money, like what's the worst case scenario?
Well, they're bringing, most everything that happens negatively out there is going to be related to dope and alcohol. So you may have the on-site dope dealer that we got to manage and figure out how to either tone that down or get them out of there, that kind of thing. The really aggressive meth or crack cocaine addicts are going to be stealing somebody's bicycle or debit card to go buy, something. Or sometimes we have the confluence of a profound mental health issue and drugs coming at the same time, and they'll get destructive on their property. Those kind of things. It's the reality of the whole world that we live in a microcosm there at the Community First Village.
And it's probably similar numbers.
Well, it's that's right. You look, we go everywhere every day, all the time, and we're safe. Mm-hmm. We live a great life.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just these threat things that people concentrate on. That that we're engineered to try to stay alive. And that's what our DNA is all about. Like, if you want to procreate, if you want to carry on your genetics, you want to keep your loved ones alive, you got to stay alive. Yeah. And so there's this fear, this constant fear, and it's crippling, and because it's projected both by the mainstream media and it's projected by social media algorithms. The things that you interact with the most, the things that freak you out the most or anger you the most are oftentimes the ones you see the most because you interact with those, and it's designed to keep you hooked.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what that's doing is it's making us anxiety-ridden freaks. Yeah. And we're losing our understanding of humanity. It's also extremely polarizing. Man, we had a conversation about this at your place. The news today is like it's so polarizing. It's us versus them inside our country for like the first time in my life. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, my parents were very liberal, and they never talked disparagingly about conservative people or Republicans. They just thought they were wrong. That's all it was. Like, they had conservative friends. They would sit at the dinner table and have conversations about stuff, and maybe they'd argue. But it was always fine. It was just two human beings disagreeing on things. Now it's like everybody's a Nazi or everybody's a communist. It's like it's just one side is absolutely sure that they're right and the other side is absolutely sure that they're right. And it's just accentuated by everything we see. So when you can see someone like yourself in a microcosm put this together and make a real community of some of the most disparaged members of our society, the people that know you look when they're trying to get money at the stoplight, you look away, you drive past them and they're tense. Jesus Christ, what's that guy doing in there? You don't even think about them. The same type of person that might see someone with a flat tire and pull over. Like, hey, buddy, you all right? Can I help you? Because you're me. I'm you. We're at the same sort of stratus in society. We're acceptable members of society with cars and homes and normal people with jobs. So I'll help you. But that guy over there, like...
Well, this is what we have to... when you look at the purpose of Mobile Loaves and Fishes, our vision statement, the thing that drives our organization is that we empower communities into a lifestyle of service with the homeless, not to and for, with the homeless. This, metaphorically, is the same thing as pulling over and helping the guy change the flat tire. There's a guy on your street corner and up underneath that bridge that you pass every day. Can we pull over and help them change that flat tire? That's what this is all about, because the government, we have to quit yelling at the mayor and the city council to go and fix this problem. This is what we do, okay? We need government to come alongside of us to do this, but look, this is a human issue, and the government is not coming into your bedroom tonight to tuck you in. We need a human-to-human, heart-to-heart connection between people who are broken and battered and come from a trauma background that you and a battlefield background that you and I can't even begin to understand.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? People always want to use that term, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can't even comprehend the starting block that most of these folks have.
Well, and nobody has, Joe.
Right.
That nobody in history has ever pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
There are things that you should do in your life. You should have discipline. You should have work ethic. You should strive to your goals. You should be a good person, try to keep your body healthy. You should do all those things. But all this pretending that everybody's starting from the same spot and the reason why you're successful and they're not is that you work harder. That's just foolish.
Yeah.
That is ego and nonsense and a complete lack of perspective.
Yeah.